I'll be honest. When I watched my friend James lose everything because of his parents' house, I was terrified. I couldn't focus on anything else for days. I questioned everything I believed about inheritance being a blessing. Most of us think that inheriting property is like winning the lottery, but here's the truth no one talks about. It might be the worst thing that happens to your retirement. So, I'm Jason. I retired early at 39, but today isn't about my success. It's about the inheritance trap that's silently destroying families across America. By the end of this video, you'll understand why I still get anxious thinking about my own parents' house and why 70% of families who inherit property end up drowning in debt or family warfare. And the 3 critical steps that could save you from the emotional and financial devastation that nearly destroyed my friend's marriage and retirement. This isn't just about money, it's about the family conflicts and financial pressure that nobody else prepares you for. So let me tell you what really happened to James and why it still haunts me to this day. When James's mother passed away, everyone congratulated him. "You're so lucky," they said. "That house is worth $400,000. But nobody warned him about what was coming. Here's what made James's situation so brutal. He inherited a 1/3 share of the house with his 2 siblings. But here's the catch. He was the only one living nearby, so of course he became the de facto caretaker while they figured out what to do. That $400,000 house, well, it came with $8,400 in property taxes, $3,200 in insurance, $7,000 in maintenance. That's over $18,000 every single year just to keep the lights on. And here's where it gets really ugly. While the siblings debated selling, James was stuck paying these costs up front. Of course, his siblings promised to reimburse him when we sell, but that took 2 years of legal battles. Within 6 months, James was bleeding money. The roof needed replacing, $15,000. The HVAC died, $12,000. And he was fronting all these costs while his siblings fought every decision. And here's the brutal truth. Most inherited homes require $25,000 in immediate repairs. But when you co-own with your siblings, who can't or won't pay their share, you're stuck holding the bag. James's siblings lived across the country. One wanted to sell immediately, but wouldn't help with the upfront cost. The other was emotionally attached and blocked every attempt to sell, but also wouldn't contribute to the maintenance. If this terrifies you as much as it terrifies me, you need to subscribe right now. My wife and I talk about the financial nightmares that keep us up at night, the stuff that nobody else prepares you for. This is where James's story really gets heartbreaking. His family spent $23,000 in legal fees fighting over the property. James was paying lawyers, property taxes, insurance, and maintenance, all while his siblings fought him at every turn. The emotional toll on James was devastating. His brother accused him of trying to steal mom's house. His sister claimed he was forcing them to sell their childhood memories. Family holidays became battlegrounds. And I've seen this story play out over and over. Inheritance doesn't just create financial stress, it reveals every family dysfunction that you thought you moved past. Now, I need to ask you something. Are you worried about your parents' house? Are you already seeing signs that your siblings might not agree on what to do? No shame here. This channel is where we can finally say out loud what we're so afraid to tell our own families. Whether you're terrified of the financial burden, worried about family fights, or even feeling guilty for even thinking about selling your own childhood home, share it below. Look, we're all carrying these fears, and keeping them secret only makes them worse. So share your concerns below. See, most people think that inherited property is tax-free, and that's partially true. Yes, you get a stepped-up basis, but when you can't afford the carrying cost and you're stuck in family disputes, you're paying money to maintain an asset that might be losing value. My friend James, he paid $31,000 in carrying costs over 2 years, while the house lost $40,000 in value due to deferred maintenance and market conditions. When they finally sold it, he spent more than he received from his share. In just a moment, I'm going to share the 3-step strategy that could have saved James over $90,000 and his family relationships. But first, you need to understand why smart people make terrible decisions when emotion meets inheritance. Here's what nobody prepares you for. Inherited property becomes an emotional minefield. You feel guilty wanting to sell your parents' house. It feels like betraying their memory, especially when other family members are emotionally attached. But here's what I learned watching James. The people who love that house the most are often the ones who are least able to afford it. James loved his childhood home, but keeping it was destroying his financial future. I admit sometimes I lie awake wondering what happens when my own parents pass away. Will my siblings and I handle it better than James's family did? Will we be able to have rational conversations about money when we're grieving? Maybe you're lying awake with the same fears. The fear that your family will fall apart over a house. The worry that you can't afford to keep your childhood home, but you'll feel terrible selling it. Before we get into how to protect yourself, I want to highlight something powerful. I've heard from viewers who, after hearing stories like James's, finally had the hard conversations with their own families. One person wrote to us and said, "We talked about the house for the first time in years, and it honestly brought us closer. I realized I wasn't alone in my fears." Every comment like that reminds me that this channel isn't just about money. It's about real people helping each other through the hardest parts of inheritance and personal finance. So, what can we do to protect ourselves? Well, step one, have the hard conversations now. And this is uncomfortable, but necessary. Sit down with your parents and siblings while everyone's still alive and thinking clearly. Ask about deferred maintenance costs. Get real numbers on annual expenses. Most importantly, discuss what happens if not everyone can afford their share of the ongoing cost. Step two, plan for the emotional and financial reality. If you can't all afford $20,000 in annual carrying cost, plan to sell quickly. It sounds harsh, but dragging out the process while somebody else bleeds money isn't fair to anyone. Get pre-approved for bridge financing if you're the one who'll be carrying the cost initially. Have a realtor lined up. And set clear timelines for decisions so that no one gets stuck holding the bag indefinitely. Step three, create fair financial boundaries. Work with your parents to set up clear instructions in their estate plan. If they want the house kept in the family, they need to provide the funding for maintenance. If not, they should specify a quick sale procedure. And most importantly, establish upfront who pays what if there are disagreements. Don't let one person shoulder all the financial burden while others make emotional decisions. Over the next 20 years, $84 trillion is transferring from baby boomers to their children. And much of that wealth is tied up in real estate that's more expensive to maintain than ever. I still think about James sleeping on his daughter's couch at 61, and I realize that this could happen to any of us. The difference between a blessing and a burden often comes down to family communication and financial planning. If you're in your 40s or 50s, these conversations are coming, whether you're ready for them or not. The inheritance trap is real, and I've seen it destroy too many families. But James's story doesn't have to be your story. Thank you guys for watching and being part of these important conversations. I read every comment, and your experience helps shape our future videos. Subscribe for more honest talk about the financial challenges that no one else discusses. And remember, inheriting property isn't always a blessing, but with the right planning and difficult conversations, it doesn't have to be a nightmare either.